Today we're going to be learning about rentals and commissions. We're going to start off by talking about what rentals are. Rentals refers to the process of paying a regular fee, whether monthly, weekly or daily, for the temporary use of an asset. You can rent a variety of different kinds of assets, including things like houses, business premises, vehicles and equipment, etc. Sometimes a deposit is required, which can be refunded at the end of the rental agreement if there are no outstanding fees or damages to the asset. Renters may be required to pay additional costs for things such as utilities, insurance, etc. The asset that is being rented remains the property of the owner. So even though the person that is renting it is paying, they never actually get ownership of that asset. It remains the property of the owner. Okay, now let's go and have a look at an example of a question involving rentals. In this question, 3 roommates share a rented house and their rent is 15,000 Rand per month. They also pay 1,800 Rand per month for utilities. How much does each roommate pay for both rent and utilities? Okay, now there's more than one way of doing this question. You can first work out the total cost per month for the house and then work out how much each roommate would have to pay, or you can work out each roommate's share of the rent and their share of the utilities and then add that together to find out how much each roommate pays altogether. Okay, it doesn't really matter how you do it. So the method I'm going to use is to work out the total cost and then work out how much each roommate is going to pay. Okay, so let's have a look at how that would work. So first of all, to work out the total cost per month, I'm going to take the 15,000, which is the rent amount, and I'm going to add the utilities amount, which is 1,800. And that will give me 16,800. So that's the total amount that this house costs per month, with the rent and the utilities combined. Okay, now to work out how much each roommate is going to pay, because if one person was renting out this house, that is how much they would have to pay. But because there are 3 people renting out the house and they are sharing the cost, we can divide this by 3. So we're going to take the 16,800 and we're going to divide that by 3 to find out how much each roommate is going to pay. Now they didn't tell us anything special about the way that they are sharing the cost, so we assume that they're sharing it evenly. Okay, so 16,800 divided by 3, and when you work that out, that should give you 5,600. So that is how much they would each have to pay. Now, like I said, this isn't the only way you can do it. You could have taken the 15,000 and divided it by 3, and the 1,800 and divided it by 3, and then added those amounts to find out how much each roommate pays. You can also do it in one calculation like this. Instead of doing 2 steps, you can combine it into one calculation by saying the 15,000 plus the 1,800 is the total, and because I'm working that out first, I'm going to put that in brackets and then divide that by 3. Okay, and if you do that, you'll end up with this 15,000, in brackets, 15,000 plus 1,800 and close brackets, and then divide by 3, and that gives us 5,600. So it gives me the same answer if I do it like that. So you can do it in one step. You can also do it in one step. So this is another way over here. Also doing in one step, but doing them separately. So if I say the 15,000 divided by 3, divided by 3, plus the 1,800 divided by 3, and that will give me 15,000 divided by 3 plus 1,800 divided by 3 gives me the same answer of 5,600. Okay, so that's another way of doing it as well. Sorry, you can't see this whole thing over here. So we've got over here 15,000 divided by 3 and 1,800 also divided by 3. So we take the 2 separate parts, divide them both by 3 and add that, and that gives us the 5,600. Okay, so now I'm going to give you one that you're going to do for yourself. In this question, a property owner rents out 2 apartments for 9,000 Rand and 10,500 Rand per month, respectively. How much total rental income does the owner earn in 6 months? So I'm going to give you 1 minute to work on this question. Okay, so let's go through that and see what you should have got. So first of all, you have 2 separate properties that are being rented out, and they're both being rented out at different amounts for a total of 6 months. So once again, we have more than one way of doing this. We can work out the total per month and then multiply that by 6, or we can work out the total rent for each property separately for 6 months and then add it. We can also do it in 2 steps or in 1 step. So I'm going to do it in 1 step. Over here, I'm going to say for question A, I'm going to take each of the rent amounts and work out what the total rent is per property for 6 months and add them together. So I'm going to have the 9,000 for the first property and multiply that by 6. So I have the rent for 6 months for the first property. And then I add to that the rent for the second property also for 6 months, which is 10,500 times 6. So this is just one option of how you can do it. You could have done it differently, so long as you end up with the same thing and you've done it in a way that is mathematically correct, it's fine. So we've got 9,000 times 6 plus 10,500 also times 6, and that should give you 117,000 Rand. So that's how much this owner would get altogether for both properties in a period of 6 months. So that's 117,000 Rand. Okay, so that's what we should have got for question A. Now let's go on to question B. In question B, a car rental company charges 1,200 Rand per day for a particular car. They also charge an additional 8 Rand per kilometer for every kilometer driven over the first 100 kilometers per day, which are free. So basically, you're allowed 100 kilometers per day for free, and then any extra kilometers after that, you have to pay 8 Rand per kilometer. If you rent the car for 5 days and drive a total of 725 kilometers, what will be the total amount you need to pay? I'm going to give you 1 minute to work this one out as well. Okay, so let's go through and see what you should have got for that question. So first of all, for this particular question, once again, you can do it all together in 1 step, or you can do it in multiple steps. Now, this particular question, it might be easier to do it in multiple steps because it gets a little bit complicated when you're trying to combine it all into one calculation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in multiple steps, where first of all, I'm going to calculate the amount of money that they would have to pay without taking into consideration any kilometers that they've driven, just the basic cost of renting the car. Okay, so they've rented it for a total of 5 days, and it's 1,200 Rand per day. So we're going to take that 1,200 and multiply that by 5 to find out how much it costs to rent the car without worrying about kilometers that have been driven. Okay, so 1,200 times 5 gives you 6,000 Rand. So that means that if you don't actually drive the car, or if you stay within the limit of 100 kilometers per day, then this is how much it's going to cost you to rent the car. However, this person did not stay within the limit of 100 kilometers per day. They drove 725 kilometers. So now we need to work out how many extra kilometers they drove. Okay, so first let's see how many kilometers they would have got for free. So if they are renting for 5 days, then we would multiply the number of kilometers per day that they're allowed for free by 5. So that's going to be 100 that they're allowed per day times 5. So that is 500 kilometers that they're allowed for free. Okay, but now they have driven more than 500 kilometers. They have to now pay for all the extra kilometers that they drove. So we're going to take the amount of kilometers that they drove, which is 725, and subtract the 500. And that gives you 225 kilometers. So that's how many kilometers they have to pay for, because they drove extra, more than what they could get for free. Okay, so now what we need to go and do is take this amount of kilometers, and we need to multiply it by the cost per kilometer, which is 8 Rand per kilometer. So it's going to be 225 multiplied by 8, and that will give you 1,800 Rand. So they're going to pay an extra 1,800 Rand because of the extra kilometers that they drove. So now we can work out the total amount that they need to pay for renting this car, which is the amount that they pay just for renting the car without worrying about the kilometers, plus the amount that they pay for the extra kilometers that they drove. So it's going to be 6,000 plus that 1,800. And that will give you a total of 7,800 Rand. So that's what you should have got for this question. Okay, and then question C. A holiday home rental costs 2,000 Rand per night, but if you rent for 7 nights or more, you get a 15% discount. What is the cost of a 10-night stay after applying the discount? Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this one as well. Okay, so let's go through how you should have done this question. So first of all, for this question, we are starting off with the rental amount per night of 2,000 Rand, and we need to work out how much it would cost them for 10 nights. So to work that out, we take the cost per night, so 2,000, and multiply it by 10 for 10 nights. Okay, so that's nice and simple. That gives us 20,000 Rand altogether. But because they are choosing to stay for more than 7 nights, they get to take advantage of this discount of a 15% discount. Okay, so to work out how much they're going to end up paying after applying the discount, we take that 20,000 Rand, and now we have 2 choices. We can either work out what the discount is and then subtract it, or we can work at the total amount that they're going to pay straight away by saying how much are they going to pay instead if they are not having to pay 15% for the discount, then they're going to pay the balance, which is 100%, minus the 15%, which is 85%. So they're going to be paying 85% of the normal amount that they would have had to pay if there wasn't a discount. Okay, so we're going to take the 20,000, we're going to multiply by 85% as a decimal fraction. So it's going to be 0.85. So 20,000 multiplied by 0.85, and that should give you 17,000 Rand. Okay, now I just want to show you that you could have done this all in one go. Okay, you could have said the 2,000 multiplied by the 10 nights, and then straight away multiplied by the 0.85, because you know the 10 nights is more than the 7 nights that they say you can get the discount for. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 0.85. So if you do it all in one go, because this is multiplication, it is commutative. That means it doesn't matter what order we do it. Also, we can do it grouped in different ways. So I can do that first and then multiply by that, or I can just multiply it all together at the same time. So 2,000 times 10 times 0.85 gives me 17,000, which is the same answer that I got over here. So you can do it all in one go. Because it's all multiplication, you can just multiply it all together at the same time. Okay, so that's what you should have got for question C. Right, now we're going to go on to commission. Okay, commission is a form of compensation. So in other words, somebody gets money for doing something. So it's compensation paid to an individual based on the sales or business that they generate. Okay, so when you have somebody who's being paid on a commission basis, then the amount that they get paid isn't fixed. It is based on the amount of sales or business that they generate. So if they make more sales, they make more money. If they bring in more business, they make more money. So commission is not a set amount of income that you're going to get. It's income that you make based on the amount of sales or business that you generate. Okay, so now let's have a look at an example working with commission. A salesperson earns a 12% commission on sales and a 1,000 Rand bonus for exceeding 50,000 Rand in sales. If they sell 72,350 Rands worth of products, what is their total earnings? Okay, so to work this out, there are two things we have to do. First of all, we have to work out what the commission is, and then we also have to add on that bonus that they told us about over here. So let's see how we would work out the commission. Okay, so over here, we're going to work out the commission by saying it's 12% of the sales. So you need to sort through the information you've been given over here. There are lots of numbers that we have to look at. We need to look for the right number that we're working with. So it's 12% of a particular amount. It's not 12% of the 1,000. That 1,000 is the bonus, okay? It's not 12% of 50,000, because that 50,000 is the limit for which they can get that bonus. If they make less than 50,000 in sales, then they don't get the bonus. So the 50,000 is tied to the bonus. The 72,350 is the sales that they made. So it's 12% of the 72,350. Okay, so to work that out, I'm going to take the 72,350 and multiply that by 12%, or 0.12. Okay, so that's going to tell me how much commission they will get. So 72,350 times 0.12, that gives you 8,682. And that is the commission amount. Okay. Once you know how much commission they made, you can then go and work out the total earnings by taking the commission and adding on the bonus if necessary. So in this case, the bonus is only for if they exceed 50,000 Rand in sales. Now they did exceed 50,000 because they made 72,350 Rand in sales, which is more than 50,000. So we're going to be adding on that bonus. So the bonus is 1,000. So we're going to take the 8,682 and we're going to add that 1,000, and that's going to give us 9,682 Rand. So that's the total amount that they made. Now, once again, you can do this all in one calculation. You can take the 72,350 and multiply it by 0.12. To work out your commission. And then because you already know that this is more than the 50,000, you can straight away add that 1,000. So we can go and work that out straight away. So 72,350 times 0.12, and then we add the 1,000, and that gives us 9,008 or 682, which is the same as what we got over there. Okay, so that's what you should get for that question. Right, so now I'm going to give you a couple that you're going to do for yourself. Okay, so here's the first one. A real estate agent earns a 3% commission on properties sold up to 1 million rand and a 5% commission on properties sold over 1 million rand. How much commission does the agent earn if they sell a property for 1,850,000 rand? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do this question. Okay, so let's go through that and see what you should have got. So first of all, for this question, you had to identify which commission rate you need to actually do the calculation with. Are you using the 3% rate or are you using the 5% rate? So that is based on the value of the property that was sold. In this case, the property was sold for 1,850,000 rand, which is more than the 1 million threshold. So the threshold is 1 million rand, and anything below that, you're going to have a 3% commission. But anything above that, you're going to have a 5% commission. So in this case, it is more than the 1 million threshold, which means that you're going to be working with a 5% commission. So we're going to take that 1,850,000 and we're going to multiply that by 5% because that's the commission they get on when they sell a property more than 1 million rand. Okay, so it's going to be multiplied by 5% as a decimal fraction, which is 0.05. Please be careful, it's not 0.5. If it's 0.5, that's actually 50%. So be careful, it's 0.05. Okay, so now we're going to go and work that out. So 1,850,000 multiplied by 0.05, and that gives you 92,500 rand. So that's how much the commission they would make for selling this particular property. Okay, next question. Question B, a salesperson earns a 6% commission on sales. If they sell a product originally priced at 5,000 rand, but offer a 20% discount, how much commission do they earn on the sale? Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 minute for this question. Okay, so let's go through that question and see what you should have got. So first of all, they tell us that the salesperson earns a 6% commission on sales. Okay, Now they've got a product that is 5,000 Rand and they have now sold this product, but they didn't sell it for 5,000 Rand. They offered a 20% discount. So that means that the commission is not going to be worked out on 5,000 Rand. It's going to be worked out on the discounted price. So we can work out the discounted price by seeing, first of all, we can either choose to work out what the discount is and then subtract it, or we can work out the discounted price straight away by saying if the customer is being offered a 20% discount, that means that they're paying the balance, which is 80%. Okay, so we're going to say 5,000 multiplied by 0.8 to work out 80%, because that's how much the customer is actually going to pay. Okay, so now that is going to give us 4,000 Rand. Okay, so now that is how much the customer has paid. The salesperson is going to get 6% commission on that amount. So it's going to be 6% of 4,000. So 4,000 multiplied by 0.06. So 4,000 multiplied by 0.06 gives us 240 Rand. Okay, now once again, it's also possible to do this in one calculation. So you can take the 5,000 multiplied by the 0.8, and then straight away you can multiply it by the 0.06, and that will also give you the same result. So if I take the 5,000, multiply that by 0.8, and then multiply it by 0.06, it will also give me that 240 Rand. So you can do it all in one go, because remember, multiplication, you can move things around, you can do it in a different order, and it doesn't matter. Okay, so over here, I get 240 Rand. And that is how much commission the salesperson is going to get for this particular sale. It would have been more if they didn't give that 20% discount. Okay, right, and then the last question for today. Question C. If a salesperson earns 2,500 Rand in commission and their commission rate is 5%, what were their total sales? Okay, now this one you're going to have to think about. It's quite a different question. You've been told what their commission is, and you need to work out what their total sales was. So you're kind of going backwards here. Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 minute to work this one out. Okay, so let's go through and see how you should have done this question. Okay, so now first of all, this question, like I said, is different because here you are being given the commission amount. You've been told what percentage it is, but you need to work out what the total sales was, which is the amount before the commission was worked out. Okay, now all of the other questions we've done, we've been given the starting amount. We've had to work out a percentage of that, and then we've had to work that out. But now in this case, we've been given the amount after the percentage change happened. Okay, so the 2,500 is 5% of an unknown amount. So now we need to work out what that unknown amount is. So when you have a question like this, where you've been given the amount that is after the percentage change happened, what I always recommend doing is using the method of dividing by what you have and multiplying by what you want. So in this case over here, we've got 2,500. Okay, now that 2,500 is the commission. Now the commission is 5%. So we have 5%, that's the commission. We want to know what the original amount was, which is the sales, which is going to be 100%. It's 5% of the original amount, so the original amount is 100%. So that's the sale, the total sales. So we want 100%. So we've got 5%, we want 100%. So we divide by what we have. So we divide by 5. And we multiply by what we want, which is the 100. Okay, so when we do that, that is going to tell us the amount that this 2,500 is 5% of. Okay, so I have 2,500 divided by 5 multiplied by 100, and that gives you 50,000 Rand. So now if we were to take this 50,000 Rand and check it, we would be able to say 50,000 times 0.0, it's 5%, so 0.05, and that should give us the 2,500 that we started with, because now we're working out 5% of the 50,000, and that gives us 2,500. Okay, so the 2,500 is 5% of 50,000 Rand. So the total sales that the salesperson managed to make was 50,000 Rand. Okay, and that is how you work with rentals and commissions. Now that we've learned the concepts in this lesson, it's important to practice, practice, practice. If you haven't already got the worksheet that goes with this video, you can find it by clicking on the link in the description below. The worksheet comes with an extra exercise full of questions for you to work on to master the concepts covered in this lesson. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button so that others can benefit from it too. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you can easily find my other lessons, and hit the bell so that you will get notified about lessons as I upload them.